G'day everyone, we've got an absolute extravaganza of international test rugby coming up again this weekend. I'm so excited. It's Friday morning here in Cancun in Mexico, and I'm putting together my list of games I'm going to watch, which there's 8 in total this weekend. And I've put my score predictions down, so I'm going to share them with you in this video and tell you why I've picked that particular score and outcome from the game. So let's get into it right now. G'day everyone, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mark. I'm a retired Kiwi bloke. I'm living in beautiful Cancun in Mexico, and I'm a huge rugby fan. Not just following the All Blacks, I love rugby across the entire world. I even follow the Mexican team here in Mexico. Okay, 8 games I'm going to be following closely in the weekend. The first one kicks off tonight, my time, at 10 p.m. and it's going to be between Fiji and Scotland. It's being played in Suva in Fiji, a beautiful part of the world. And I think that's going to be one of the downcomes for this Scottish team on this particular weekend. They played brilliantly against the New Zealand Maori All Blacks last weekend and had a very, very close win in New Zealand, but the temperature was a lot cooler than it's going to be in Suva this weekend, and I think that's going to be the downfall of Scotland. It's a very, very difficult place to play rugby over 80 minutes in the conditions in Suva. And I think the Fijians, after their brilliant performance against the Wallabies last weekend, are going to be riding high for this one. And I think they're going to get home in the end. My score prediction for the game is Fiji 22, Scotland 18. So I do think it's going to be close. But I think because of the conditions, Scotland are going to run out of energy at the end. And Fiji are going to be able to score that historic win in Suva. That's my prediction for the first game. Then next up we go to the City of Churches, which is Adelaide in beautiful South Australia, and we're going to see the British and Irish Lions take on an Australian and New Zealand Invitation 15. It's been 36 years since the two Australian and New Zealand teams have come together and played a match, so this is going to be another historic occasion and a great lead up for the British and Irish Lions 1 week out from their first test match against the Wallabies that'll be played at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane next Saturday. We're all looking forward to that one. Now I think the Lions are going to continue their winning streak in Australia, and I think they're going to have a comfortable win against a bunch of blokes that have probably spent far too much time at the vineyards across South Australia this week. And the Lions is going to be able to run away with this game. My score pick for this game is the Lions are going to score 48, and the Australian New Zealand Invitation team are going to be lucky to get 16. So that's how I'm going to pick it for this game. Next on the schedule for me is Japan versus Wales. This game being played in Japan, and of course last weekend Japan had a very good win against Wales. It was a close game, and I think we're going to see the same thing happen again. Boy, it's pretty hard if you're a Welsh rugby supporter at the moment. 18 losses in a row. It's getting very, very difficult to watch. But sooner or later, they've got to turn it around. And will it be this particular weekend? Well, I'm saying no. Unfortunately, it won't. I think Japan are going to do it again. But it is going to be another close game. I've picked this one to be 24-18 in favour of Japan against the Welsh this weekend. So let's see how it turns out. Then we go to Wellington in New Zealand. It used to be called the Cape Town Stadium, and well, it's Wellington, so anything could happen with the weather. Of course, the game between New Zealand and France in the first test in Dunedin was a close one. The All Blacks getting over the line 31 points to 27, and I think they're going to have a little bit more dominance in this game. So I've got my score at the All Blacks 27, France 16 in this game. I think the weather conditions are probably going to play a part in it. And I think the All Blacks are going to be a little bit more clinical in being able to get across the line, or at least I'm hoping so. But don't ever count out this French team. It doesn't matter if they're inexperienced players. They're going to be able to stand up, and they'll be motivated after last week's performance in Dunedin. So there you go, my score for this game, New Zealand 27, France 16. Okay, next up we go to South Africa, and it's going to be the second and last game in the series between the Springboks and Italy. It's being played at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium in Port Elizabeth. Fantastic venue for this particular game. And despite the Italians' brave performance last weekend and a great defensive effort against the Springboks, I think the Springboks are going to do this one quite comfortably. And the main reason I think is because they got Grant Williams in the number 9 jersey this weekend. They've got Mani Labok in number 10. They've got Sasha and Ngomazulu coming off the bench. And I think the back line for the Springboks is going to be too fast and too dynamic for the Italian defensive line. I've got a score of 48 points to 12 in favour of the Springboks this weekend. I just think they're going to be more clinical than they were last weekend. And with the weapons they've got out wide with Van der Merwe and Mapimpi on the wings. And let's see if Willie LaRue can score a try in his 100th game for the South African Springboks. So 48 points to 12, that's what I'm going with the Springboks against Italy. Then we're up to Europe for the next one, and this one's going to be played in Portugal, and it's Portugal versus Ireland. Ireland played Georgia and had a comfortable win last weekend. It was a good game on their behalf, and I expect them to continue this trend this weekend. I think Portugal are going to show some brilliance at different times throughout this game, but I think this particular Irish team is going to be way too classy for what we're going to see from Portugal, and I'm expecting to see 47 points to 9 being the score in this game in favour of Ireland. And then it's off to South America, and we're going to see Uruguay hosting Romania this weekend, and both of these teams are on the upward trajectory in World Rugby. I love watching them both play, and I think this is going to be quite a fascinating encounter. I'm saying it's going to be a fascinating encounter. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm putting Uruguay to win this one by 18 points to 14. I think they're going to have too much for the Romanian team, particularly in the back line, and they'll be able to score a couple of good tries. So watch out for this one, Uruguay-Romania, happening in Uruguay this weekend. And then the last game I'm going to be watching this weekend is going to be Argentina v England, which is being played in Argentina. A disappointing outcome for Argentinian fans last weekend in Mar del Plata. They got beaten comprehensively in the second half, even though it was 3-0 at half-time in favour of England. But England came out very, very classy looking in that second half, and Argentina have changed their team around for this week, and I'm expecting to see a bigger battle. But I like what I'm seeing from this England team. They're very composed, they're very patient, they've got a game plan, and they're using their big players very, very well. They're very good in the forwards, this England team. I think England are going to run away with this one. I think they're going to win 33 points to 22. I think Argentina are going to score some good tries this weekend. But I think over the course of 80 minutes, the structure that this England team is showing, their speed and the turnovers, is going to be too much from a consistent point of view against Argentina. So 33 points to 22 in favour of England, wrapping up their 2-game series in Argentina against the Los Pumas. So there we go, an absolute plethora of international test rugby coming up this weekend, starting at 10 p.m. here local time in Cancun. For me tonight with Fiji against Scotland, I will put the kickoff times for the local times in the description below. So if you're not too sure what time these games are kicking off across the world, you can read it all in the description below. Let me know what teams you're going to be watching this weekend. Are you going to be watching more than just your favourite team? If so, let me know who it is. And where do you think the most exciting game is going to be this weekend? Really looking forward to that. And don't forget, on Monday I'm going to be doing my new Monday show, doing a recap of all the rugby from across the world over the weekend. Some pretty exciting things to talk about, I'm sure. Did the Kiwis end up winning the series against France 2-0 after this weekend's game? And did South Africa end up with a 2-0 victory over Italy? Those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about on Monday in the Monday show. Okay, well, enjoy the rugby this weekend, everybody. Don't forget, I am on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, and I'll be posting my comments throughout the weekend on there. Make sure you check that out. The link to my Twitter account is also in the description of this video, so make sure you click on that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We're building a fantastic global community of rugby fans talking respectfully about the great game as it happens across the world, and I'd love you all to be part of it. Okay, I'll be back again soon with some more content. Until then, stay safe, stay well, everyone. Enjoy your rugby across the world. It's time to say adios from beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Bye for now.